Babies Live, and welcome Debbie LaPinska, our special guest today from PGT Innovations. I am Madeleine Thakur. I'm Chief of Staff for the Children's Movement of Florida, and we are pleased to continue our series of Bosses for Babies Live. As many of you know, Bosses for Babies is an initiative that brings together business champions for early childhood. These are Florida CEOs who understand that investing in young children and families is an investment both in your bottom line and in community prosperity. So welcome to all of you joining us via Zoom, to those joining us via Facebook. You can submit any questions today either in the Q&A feature here on Zoom or in the comments on Facebook, and we'll do our best to answer those either live or in the chat. By way of introduction, our newest boss for babies at the Children's Movement is Jeff Jackson. He is the CEO of PGT Innovations, a company headquartered in Venice, Florida, an industry leader in design and manufacture of technically advanced impact windows and doors. And this is something obviously dear to us in Florida as we're watching Epsilon off the coast in a very active hurricane season, and really proud to have you all here. Before I introduce Debbie, I would just say three things about PGT. The first is that they're celebrating 40 years this year, their 40th anniversary. The second is they are the largest private employer in Sarasota County. And the third is that since April 2019, they have operated on-site childcare at their headquarters, operated by the Sky Family YMCA and offered for employees and the wider community. So I'm joined today by Debbie LaPinska. Debbie is Senior Vice President of Human Resources at the company. She is responsible for talent acquisition, compensation and benefits, health and safety, organizational development, training. And important with all of that, and something dear to the company, is listening all the time to their team members. And that is 3,700 of them, listening and doing whatever possible to address the biggest challenges of their employees. So Debbie, thank you so much for being with us today. When we've spoken in the past, I've said it's just such a natural fit to have PGT involved in our Bosses for Babies initiative. You have been committed in the community to supporting children for a long time. Tell us a bit about the organizations you support and that history.
Sure. Thank you for having me, and I'm delighted to speak on behalf of early learning and early childhood development. It has been a passion of ours for quite some time. We initially started off with our commitment and our support to children and their development by really just partnering with some of the fabulous agencies that we have in our community. The Sky Family YMCA has been one of our legacy partners for quite some time in many ways. And then we also partner with Children First, who serves a population of children and is very focused on pre-K. So babies to before they go to kindergarten, where the Sky Family YMCA supports children from 6 weeks on up and through their school age. And then, Boys and Girls Club has been also a partner of ours, and we support these organizations in a variety of ways. We have several of our senior executives, including myself, that serve on these boards for these agencies. So Jeff Jackson, our CEO, has been serving on Children First Board for just about 6 years. I think he's rolling off their board this year, and I'm sure he'll be finding another board to participate in. We do get asked a lot to be a part of the associations and their boards, and that keeps us very well connected to what they're striving and what they're doing, so that we're in support of that. I serve on the Sky Family YMCA board. In fact, we had our board meeting this morning. Our CFO, Sherry Baker, she serves on Girls Inc., which is a different type of program specific to girls, but does a wonderful job of developing them and developing them from very early on, small children all the way up through high school. So, that's what got us started into the programs and understanding the need in our community.
That's great. And of course, it's significant that you made the decision to offer on-site childcare, and it's one of your longtime philanthropic interests that came in to support your employees. How did that happen?
Well, it actually, it started off about 20 years ago. So we've always been a company committed to doing strategic planning. And one of the things that we learned very early on are there's three challenges that our team members experience, as do many other companies and their employees, but that is affordable housing, the cost of childcare, and affordable health care. And there wasn't very much we could do around affordable housing, even though we do make building products. You know, and aside from becoming a land developer and building homes or building houses, you know, we really couldn't do much there. But we felt we could really make a difference in the healthcare. So we do have an on-site clinic. We've had that just shy of 10 years here in our Venice location. And then the next big thing was to invest in childcare. And so we're a manufacturer. We do not know anything about running a childcare center. But one of the things that we were pretty committed to was that we didn't want it to just be a daycare. We wanted it to be a facility where children were actually going to learn and be prepared to go to school and then have that support even while they're in school.
That's wonderful. And how do you measure the success of this investment? I guess for the health clinic, you've had 10 years of it. For the childcare, it's a bit newer, but how do you measure success? How do you measure ROI?
Yeah, so I mean, we don't have a hard, steadfast measurement that says specific to the centers that we have on site. But I can tell you that employee morale is a big thing. And when you read any studies, especially from Gallup, and they talk about engagement, employee engagement, specifically they'll say, does the company I work for have a purpose and do they care about me? So this is one of the ways that we do show that. But you know, attendance and being present at work is really important. It does play into efficiencies, it plays into quality, it plays into customer satisfaction. And if this one burden can be removed from their minds, and that is, you know, making sure they have affordable health care and health services to their children, but then also being able to have peace of mind knowing that they're in a good center, they're actually getting education, and oh, by the way, it just happens to be close. The other important factor about the child care center that we have is, you know, we're a manufacturing company, so our hours of operation are not typically conducive to what typical child care centers are open. And so our you know, our shifts start at 5:30 in the morning. So when we were looking for a partner, that was really important for us to determine whether or not they were going to be able to support the center being opened at a certain time of day and then the hours that it would be open, you know, later in the day. So what's nice about our childcare center is it opens at 5 a.m. And it closes at 6. So people aren't rushing to try and get there, that they have some flexibility. And so that's been important in helping us have attendance, good attendance. And again, it's that just that reliability, and then just the peace of mind that it provides our team member population that's utilizing actually both the healthcare clinic and our childcare center.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, attendance is obviously something you can measure. You might not be able to tie it directly. Engagement is sort of a softer look, but
Right.
you also have ways of measuring that, even if it's not quantitative, right?
Right. So, you know, we have a corporate chaplain that has a lot of interaction with our team members. His sole purpose is to walk the manufacturing floor, spend time in all the different departments, but really just talking to individuals about how they're doing, what's going on. A lot of times, employees will not necessarily speak to their immediate supervisor about what's weighing heavy on their mind, but they will talk to Brian, who is our corporate chaplain and life coach. And so a lot of ideas come from what Brian hears from our workforce. What are they struggling with? How are they doing? What can we do? You know, so we're already looking at other things that we may need to consider in the future. But most recently, you know, we've also brought on a program to help them with paying off debt and budgeting and managing their finances, because that's a heavy burden, especially right now. But you know, that's probably more anecdotal information that we get that really supports what we're doing more so than the hard metrics that you can't tie to any one initiative. So I think that's where we put most of our weight.
Yeah, I mean, it gives a sense of the human side behind PGT and how you care for your employees and their loved ones. And make sure they can then bring their best to work. What about on sort of the more business side of this, the liability? Did you have concerns about that as you thought of putting the center on your site? How do you manage?
Sure. Yes. Well, so as you know, we are not experts in early learning or in running a child care center. We learned a lot. So as we were going through our diligence process of who should we partner with, I mean, we spoke to the coalition, we spoke to Children First. We have such a great relationship with Philip Tavel there, and then the Sky Family YMCA. One of the things that we did is we actually went and visited the YMCA up in Central Florida that actually serves the Walt Disney World cast members. That's what they refer to their team members, and learned a lot from them. And we came back and said, okay, one of the things that PGT can do is we can make the investment in the property, we can buy the land, we can build the building, and we can take on the liability that comes with being a landlord, if you will, of the facility. And then the Y is responsible for the liability that comes with running a child care center, because that's what they know and that's what they do. And they have to have all the right certifications and meet all the regulations there. And so the partnership was really quite, it just came together so easily because, we have an operating agreement. And when I say landlord, we do not charge the YMCA anything for the facility. So it is, and that's how we're able to actually subsidize the cost for our employees, is that they don't pay rent, they don't pay anything to PGT. We maintain the building, we maintain the infrastructure, and then they maintain everything inside that supports the early learning programs that they offer.
Yeah. And so you've got subsidized rates for your employees, and others who are in your office park can also send their children if there are spots available?
Yeah, so I wish the center was larger so that we could serve a greater population of children. We actually have a waiting list, which is a good and bad thing. It shows that we are that there is a need, so that we continue to put emphasis there. And we also own additional land, so we can expand our center when the time's right. And we're working closely with the Sky Family YMCA to determine that. So, it's one of those things, you can't ask the YMCA to hold spots and not fill them when there's such a great need. So one of the things is PGT gets first dibs on any open spots. And then when we don't fill them, it's opened up to the business community right here in the industrial park. And then they're able to charge whatever their fees are to those folks. So it works out really well. 60% of the children in that facility, though, are PGT Innovations team members.
Okay. That's wonderful. And I love hearing about the partnership with the YMCA and how this is all about early learning, not just childcare. It's not just a place to make sure your kids are healthy and safe. You want them to be getting the right interaction with their teachers and all of that. Another question, I mean, obviously you guys, you employ, I think it's about 1,700 there in your headquarters, but have 3,700 employees across your offices. The feasibility of on-site childcare, it doesn't work out in all of your other locations. Are you able to balance some of those benefits in other places, either for the healthcare or childcare?
Yeah, so around the healthcare side, well, as you mentioned, most of the other locations do not have an on-site clinic. You have to reach a certain size and scale to justify the amount of investment. But everyone is going to, in many cases, is on the same health plan. But where we can find partners to do some of the things that we do here with the access to our clinic. For instance, it's flu season, so flu shots. Our team members here in Venice can just go right over to the clinic and get a flu shot. Very convenient. Well, whereas our Miami Hialeah team can't necessarily do that. So we find a partner that we bring on site that will actually provide the flu shots, the vaccinations for folks there. And we've been growing through acquisition. So sometimes each site, it takes us a little bit longer to figure out who that partner is to make that happen. But we're always working with all of the amazing organizations that support us. Our clinic has the ability, it's premise health. So they service, the entire nation as far as on-site clinics. So they have the ability, for instance, like when we were going through COVID, we needed to do temperature screening because we're an essential business, and we needed to make sure that we were making sure people were healthy and safe coming into our facilities, and they were able to staff each one of our locations with on-site technicians to do that for us. So again, just trying to leverage our relationships to help us provide similar services to our other locations.
Yeah.
Childcare will be our next challenge to solve, and I think it's just a matter of networking and partnerships that we can find to maybe do that. We do support a lot of agencies again around children and families. So we also do product donations, and that is also how we find out about organizations outside of the Sarasota County area. So we've donated product to Boys and Girls Club facilities, the Bonita Springs Early Childhood Learning Center that is tied to the Sky Family YMCA. We donated all the window door products for that facility, as well as the other Venice locations. So there are some agencies in need, I know, in the Southeast Florida area that, potentially that might be a way for us to partner with them.
That's great. Well, I know the health clinic has had a much longer life there at PGT, and it's wonderful to hear the potential growth on the childcare side as well. And I'm as you're talking about visiting the center at Disney before you got started. Our hope with Bosses for Babies is that the companies that have chosen these kinds of commitments help to inspire others to take this on. And so our hope, of course, is that somebody comes to visit you next once these COVID restrictions on visits are lifted.
Yes.
We can see all the good work that you do as that grows and shows tremendous impact in your community. So wonderful to hear all of this and really hear the spirit of PGT comes through this conversation of the commitment to your employees, the fact that you have a corporate chaplain whose job it is to go and talk to employees and coach them and help them is wonderful to hear. So
We're excited, and I think sometimes we take for granted just how unique we are and how special the people here are, and it creates an environment where even our team members feel the necessity to want to give and be involved in the community because they see the passion behind the company, and it all ties to that initial statement I made earlier. People connect to a company that has a purpose and a mission in life, and ours is to make sure that children have an opportunity to have potential for success. And we believe that comes through learning at a very early age.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your commitment. Thank you for being part of Bosses for Babies. I would just say two things before we close. If there are other bosses watching who want to share their best practices or things that they are doing with childcare or young children, you can visit www.bossesforbabies.com, and there's a link to sign up. It'll also be here in the comments section. And the last thing is on December 8th, we invite you all to join us for Built to Thrive, a free virtual summit on Florida children, where you'll hear national experts and local change makers weighing in from the worlds of politics, business, and early childhood. So you'll see that website here too. And we are pleased to build this community through Bosses for Babies. Debbie, thank you again for your time, for your company's commitment, and thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.